With high-dose ketamine and psilocybin, a lot of people attest to experiencing what's known as ego dissolution or ego death, which again can be harrowing for someone who hasn't had that, for the first time, to really kind of lose your sense of self.
Yep.
But in a lot of ways, it can lead to this deep feeling of calm and interconnectedness with the universe as well.
Health, fitness, mindset, nutrition. Live better and longer. I'm Saad Alam, and let's hone in.
Take ketamine, take psilocybin, and take MDMA, and walk me through each of those journeys in a therapeutic session, what I should actually expect.
So, both with high-dose ketamine and psilocybin, a lot of people attest to experiencing what's known as ego dissolution or ego death. Which again can be harrowing for someone who hasn't had that, for the first time, to really kind of lose your sense of self.
Yep.
But in a lot of ways, it can lead to this deep feeling of calm and interconnectedness with the universe as well. And I think it lowers a lot of neuroticism, that is for sure. But kind of a deeper contentment overall is where you come out on the backside. But for a lot of people, especially if you have what's known as mental rigidity. People who are kind of fall into that subpopulation have a tougher time responding. So it can be tougher to let go and really sink into that experience. But, that is like the most therapeutic kind of subjective effect with psilocybin and ketamine. And there's a rating that we call peak mysticism, where you kind of achieve a mystical state in a way, and it's sort of a questionnaire that people can attest to. And if they achieve that, it usually correlates very heavily with a strong, durable therapeutic effect. MDMA is very different in that it's not dissociative, it's not hallucinogenic in any way. I mean, it's really, you're just releasing endogenous neurotransmitters, which is what Adderall does. Now you're doing it in different ratios, so you're releasing a lot more serotonin. Adderall's dopamine, norepinephrine, but the mechanism rhymes in some ways. So you're very lucid. There's a quality with MDMA. Where you kind of get a shutting down of the amygdala as well, and there's an effect that we call hypomnesia. So amnesia, you kind of forget things or suppress memories. Here, you allow a lot of times traumatic memories to bubble up, but the amygdala isn't activated, so you're not in a fearful state, and you're really able to evaluate those traumas in depth and kind of live through them and process them. And there's been a lot of studies around PTSD where it's kind of an inability to process a really traumatic experience. I know they've looked at folks when they sleep as well, that again, the brain is kind of misfiring. It's not really in a truly rested state. And then when you're in a wakeful state, a trauma bubbles up, you kind of go into a fight or flight state and try to suppress it. So MDMA kind of shuts that off, allows you to evaluate it much more objectively, and a lot of people attest to being better after one or two experiences of that.